Hello and welcome back to the Conscious Collective. I'm here with my spiritual buddy, Lucy, and I'm Emily, and we're thrilled to be talking to you today about connecting to your higher self. I was so thrilled when you suggested this topic. What a brilliant one. It's just fantastic, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Our favorite thing to do.
Yeah, indeed. Absolutely. It's what I spend more of my time doing and helping other people do as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I think what we want to talk about today is kind of the importance of that, isn't it? And
yes.
So, but also starting with, what does the higher self mean to us? What does it mean to you, Em? What does the higher self mean?
The higher self is the non-judgmental, loving, kind aspect of me who is quite tightly knitted with perhaps the 3-4-year-old version of me that runs around and has fun, that didn't have any kind of programming. It was kind of prior programming.
Wow.
The higher self definitely has so much guidance and wisdom to give us. And the sooner we reconnect, I think, or remember our connection with him, her, they, the better, because it's fascinating. You kind of realize, oh, you've been there all along. And that's such a lovely feeling.
Oh, that feeling when you first realize the difference.
Yes.
Oh, I remember... If it's okay to just kind of
please
take over here. I remember noticing the difference in the voice, the sound of the voice, the tone of the voice. My higher self would never say anything mean or anything that's critical or doubting my self-worth or anything like that. I just remember it being like my inner cheerleader, this beautiful kind of loving, soft. And I think that's why in the beginning of connecting with our higher selves, there's a bit of a journey to really deepen that connection, because it's a softer voice to our left brain thinking mind, which is loud and dominant because it's been allowed to take over. Well, certainly in my life, when I discovered my connection and the whole concept of a higher self, I was living in my left brain for the whole of my life, after childhood, like you said.
But that's what we're surrounded by, isn't it? I mean, even if your favorite song comes on the radio and you turn it up really loud, and then you're interrupted by an advert that might not be relevant, or the news and something awful happening, and it just kind of disconnects you from that freedom you were feeling in that moment of that song, which is, that wonderful, joyous feeling is that feeling when you connect with your higher self. They can be more grounding, and you can connect, you can ask for guidance, and there's that beautiful calmness that comes with it too.
Because it is an energetic frequency as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
about tapping into a different frequency. And I think, we're all very often looking for that instant, gosh, this is interesting what's coming through now. We're looking for that instant connection, that instant validation to answer a question that we have, maybe if we're connecting to ourselves, to ask for help and things like that, which we want in a very 3D way. But actually, I think a nice way to practice tuning into your higher self is just to set that intention to tune into them energetically, because then you're letting go of any judgment or any expectation as to an answer to a question, or and you're striving, and that I think causes resistance. So if you just simply set the intention to connect with the frequency of your higher self and sit in that purity, in that love, in that peace, that's going to serve you better, I think, than asking for questions. It's going to connect you quicker.
Yeah.
And just a practice of that every day, I think, would be really helpful.
Yeah, that's why I encourage people to listen to their favorite songs.
I love that. To get them into the frequency.
Yeah, I always knew there was something magical about music. I was always amazed how a song could just transport me instantaneously. And then over time, my guides, my higher self have just shown me how you can portal through the music to other realms. But that's a whole other different conversation.
That's a whole other topic, but a lovely one, Emily. We need to talk about that, don't we?
Oh, and we will.
I love that.
We will, absolutely.
Okay. And so the other thing that we wanted to talk on was...
But how would you suggest, tapping into someone's frequency? I mean, that might be quite, we know what that's like, working with energy, being energy healers. But how do we kind of explain that to people that might not know what that is?
So it's really about raising your vibration, isn't it? So we can go along in a lower frequency, in a lower vibration. And I think this is what we're talking about. We're talking about wanting to connect with a higher version of ourselves so that we can lift our frequency and be happier. That's really what we want, don't we? We want to tap into this higher mind, this higher version of ourselves. Let's be honest, a better version, the purest version of ourselves. It's going to be a better version of ourselves, which will, when we're in connection and resonance with that frequency, equate to a better, more high vibrational experience in this life. So that's sort of one of the why would we want to do this? And then the how is to open up to aligning with that frequency. And I love your idea of music and also meditation. So when you're sitting in a meditative space, so you've given yourself some time, that's all you need. That's just some time and a little space. A lot of the people that I've kind of coached on this, you know, I encourage them to create either an altar space if they can in their homes, if not, a special chair that they can just go and sit in that particular chair. And that is that place where they can make themselves a nice warm drink and they can just sit and connect.
Because I guarantee if they do that, slowly, a little altar is going to appear.
It will grow around the chair.
Just their favourite things, because it could start with a plant.
It's so important, actually, though, that it's a space that you love. And I remember my guide speaking to me on this for the exact reason that you asked that question, which is when you surround yourselves with beautiful, lovely things like crystals, not only do they emanate wonderful frequency, but things, it could be just pictures of loved ones, or because you love plants, you love the energy of plants. What that does is it lifts your frequency and it makes you smile. And that is where you can connect to your higher self and your guides, when you're in that slightly elevated frequency. And it's a bit of a catch-22, a bit of a tricky one for a lot of people, because they're thinking, well, I want to get to that place from a low vibration. And so that's why there's a bit of a process to get there, to get to that meeting point with your higher self. And you need to acknowledge that there is a bit of a road to get to. And the space, allowing yourself the time to say everything else that's in my life can wait. And that might mean that you have to journal some things to get it off your chest. You might have to go for a walk. You might have to do some stuff around the house, do some doing, but then you cultivate that time in your schedule that is priority time. And then you sit and you lift your vibration first. So you look at your crystals, you look at the pictures of your loved ones, you show some gratitude for your life. Gratitude instantly will lift your vibration. And as you're doing that, you're simultaneously keeping your mind off of any worries, any fears, any doubts, and you're lifting your frequency. And from there, you can find that connection to your higher self.
Yeah,
can't
absolutely.
You? It's a journey to get there. And I think that the issue that we all have is, in the beginning, is we want to go from 3D busyness to like, boom, sitting down and, okay, I've got my meditation time. Quiet my mind, quiet my mind, quiet my mind. And it's my guides are like, you just have to allow yourself a little bit longer, just a little bit longer. And then when you actually come into your meditation, if you've spent time preparing your space and allowing yourself to kind of, just let go of that mind and then come up into some nice love and gratitude and excitement, then the connection's easy and quick. It won't take long then. Yeah. So the time is in the preparation, not the meditation.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah?
That's very, very true.
Yeah.
And on frequency, just so that people can start to practice it and embody it, I want you, if you're thinking, that's so far away from where I am, I want to reassure you that it really, really isn't. Because we all have our favorite coffee or tea spots, right? Or a favorite restaurant or favorite places we like to go. And then within that, there's the favorite places within those spaces that we like to sit. And that's one way that you're already kind of tuning into the frequency that's going to harmonize you the most, that's going to get the most out of your headspace in your life. And if you want to play around with it, then I invite you to just try and walk into 3 different coffee shops before you settle for the one that you want to stay in, and just see how does it feel? How does it feel to be in this one compared to how does it feel to be in this one compared to that one? Like I've always said, if there's not a nice atmosphere in a restaurant, I don't want to go in. I just don't. The atmosphere is so important. And that's another way of looking at frequency. And you get that from the people that you're around, the people you like to listen to, hang out with, the music, all these different things. So maybe you can just kind of have your little assertion on your frequencies and, you know, which ones kind of strengthen you when you're going into these different spots. Just, you know, even your supermarket, probably your petrol station, if you still use petrol or if you charge your car, who knows? But you can just apply it to everything, I think.
I love that.
And it will just increase your awareness because your higher self is going to be coming through on a similar frequency, I would say. And when you're in that high, great, wonderful mode, and you're kind of connecting to a deeper part of yourself, it is that essence of really what makes you unique and makes you tick, and that love that you'll recognize through your higher self. And then if you kind of sit and record yourself kind of talking to your higher self, you'll kind of, you know, in my own reflection, I'm like, well, that couldn't have been me because she was so nice to me.
That's how you can always tell.
So critical.
Yeah, that's how
it
you
wasn't
can
just
tell.
good advice. It was just, it was so kind and so loving. And then once you've got your little sacred space and once you've started connecting with your higher guide, you're not going to want to miss it. And you'll make time for those things.
I wanted to just mention nature as well in that.
Oh,
because
definitely.
I think just in terms of that discernment as to, I love that observation of when you are feeling aligned with your chosen nice place in a coffee shop. No, I like that. And that makes me feel good. And so I think it definitely the journey I've gone on is like a place that lights me up, a place that makes me feel really super connected to my inner world, to me, to my pure essence.
Exactly.
And that has been nature for me over the years throughout this process. You know, particular spots. And, you know, I think in the beginning, it's nice to kind of go back to the same one because, you know, if you know that when you go there, you connect, because it lights you up. You know, it's part of like what you're saying. You know that you're connecting when you're there. And I do think it is important because we can't always go and get out in nature. It's like use that feeling, the feeling that you get, create that feeling in your own space, create a safe space, a space where you feel safe, that you feel like you can fully, you know, drop those shoulders and relax. You're comfortable. You're surrounded by beautiful things that make your heart full, you know. It's that kind of a process, I think.
It is.
To get
it
there.
It is indeed.
But why should we connect with our higher selves is what we wanted to talk on today. Yes. And I just think, oh my gosh, there are so many benefits to connecting with our higher selves, aren't there?
Yeah, I mean, would you like the guidebook of how to make your life really easy? Or not?
Yeah. As simple as that. I love that. I love that. It's like, this is the way to make to have less resistance in your life.
And not for Lucy, and not for Sam, and not for Stevie, but for you.
Yeah.
For you.
Absolutely.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's an aspect of you that has chosen to come through in this physical form and have this human experience and have all these emotions. And what they're saying is, we've kind of thrown you into the thick of it. I know that this is what you wanted to come and experience. You know, it's like going on one of the most exhilarating roller coasters of your life, or being actually in the movie that is sometimes a bit terrifying. And they're like, but you weren't going to go alone. You know, like you wouldn't send a child there on their own. Like, we've got them too. We just can't see them. But, you know, if we could, I know this room's full of different energies supporting us here today. And our guides and our higher self, you know, well, our guides for sure, we get more as we go through different experiences in our lives, depending on what we need. But our higher self is different from our guides, isn't it?
I know, but I love what you're saying. And I just want to add that to just imagine, like you said, so many times in our lives, all of us feel really alone, don't we? Even if we've got friends, we've got family, sometimes we feel so alone with our troubles. If you have a regular practice of connecting to your higher self, you feel like you have got your own back. I know that sounds crazy, but you've got your own, a higher aspect of you you can tap into to help navigate your way through whatever it is that you're experiencing. And that is golden. It really is, because you're not looking outside of you. You're not looking to friends, family, other perspectives.
Or validation or confirmation.
No. And somebody else's perspective. You are looking for a guidance from a higher mind, really. Someone who is your biggest cheerleader, like I've said, and someone who wants to direct you on the best path for you. And you know what? You don't want to entrust that to friends and family. You want to hear from your higher self. That's they're your compass.
They are your compass. I was thinking of an energy medicine pose that we do with that.
Oh, really?
But yeah.
Amazing.
Wow. Okay, fine.
Show us.
How do we do this now? Oh, I've all gone in.
This looks very galactic. Hang on.
I haven't practiced it enough.
Tyrian.
Sorry, Lauren Walker. I haven't practiced it enough. There we go.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. I love just the look of
it.
it.
On different points. Gallbladder, bladder points, and just connecting us. Our compass points.
Compass points.
But yeah, going back to what you said about being alone, we feel alone when we are disconnected from source.
Exactly. And disconnected from our higher selves.
And disconnected from our higher selves, which is an aspect of source, which has all the information, that has everything that we need. And source is curious to experience itself in every single shape and form. So perfection is when you succeed and you win, and perfection is when you fail and you fall. It's everything. Everything you do is perfection, because source is experiencing itself.
Absolutely.
Now I can hear the arguments coming in. And that's why we've got discernment, and that's why we've got our intentions, and that's why there's been enough low frequencies on this planet, which we can go into another time, from different, I believe, galactic energies. But we're here for the purest intention of all, and to support others on that, because we've been so distracted for so many decades and years and wars and generations. And now it's time to come back to our purest essence, and it's free.
And you know what?
It feels good.
It does. And this is what is another advantage of connecting to your higher self that you've segued right into, is it connects you to your purpose, your soul purpose. This is one of the major benefits. Not only are you being guided by your higher self to a better experience, so less of that contrast of the that experience. We're saying that in this life, because you're being more in control, aren't you? So you're saying in this life, I kind of want the best experience. I'm choosing now. I'm in the driver's seat, and you're going to help me. So help me get the best experience. And also, can you help align me with what I came to do?
Yes.
So this is why it's so key to the spiritual awakening path, and to anybody who is really being drawn and guided by their higher selves to find nudging them path. And this is what you're feeling when things don't feel aligned and something feels funny in you. That's your higher self trying to say to you, you're off course.
Yeah.
Stop trying to push that away. Stop trying to push that funny feeling that you're getting away, because that funny feeling, you need to examine that with your higher self and say, what are you trying to show me there? Because you need a bit of redirection, right? And your higher self will give you that. Where am I redirecting myself to? Otherwise, we just feel lost with our issues and when we're going wrong in life. So it will guide you to your highest timeline. And also, just really want to reiterate what you came to do, because that's where you find fulfillment. And so many people ask me.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that.
Because we all have it in us. That's what we came for, really.
And I think when they see us doing what we love doing, and we feel like we've found our path with this, they're like, but how did you find that? How did you come across that?
How did we? By listening to our higher self.
And listening to our gut. Yeah. Like my gut, for sure. It's like, is this making me happy or not? Is this strengthening me or weakening me? Is this giving me anxiety? And there's constructive like stress as well as negative stress. But do I feel like I'm going in the right direction? So when people come for Dolores Cannon's QHHT, quantum healing hypnotherapy technique, often they're saying, why am I here? What's my purpose on life? If only I knew why I was here in the world, I'd fly and I'd go and do that. And I remember having that conversation in 2017 going like, there's more. There's so much more. Always knowing there was more, but I'd kind of had my feet on the ground a bit more. My son was older and I was like, okay, I want to get my teeth into something. And I went down another path, which gave me so much experience. I'm so grateful for it. It wasn't the happiest time in my life, but it was so powerful with learning curves. And it set me up perfectly for what I do now. And
I do think that, we get there in the end. But we
only
do have
if we're curious and determined.
If we stayed
and if you're listening to this, I'm pretty sure you'll be there before you know it.
Get you there.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think, sometimes it's tough choices though, right?
Really hard
and
choices.
I think this is why
like left side, right side, heart, brain,
so
which way do I go?
Emotions.
I know. Family, community, society,
so
what's
much.
correct. You're going to make those weird sounds again. Yes, I am.
Yes,
and I want you to do it too because it makes me so happy and it's called light language.
Exactly. And making these decisions to move away from these things that aren't in alignment.
Constructs of how we're supposed to behave and act and wear and dress and speak. And hey, if that brings you joy, go for it. Then you're in the right construct. But if you're not, that paradigm around you, you're seeing that it's starting to phase, right? And our higher selves are like, come this way, come this way, come this way, all the time.
Always.
But if we don't pause ourselves in that queue that just got longer and the one next to us just got shorter and we're thinking, if we don't pause and really, because it happens, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Yeah. And then the baby starts to cry or something and you've already got a headache. If we don't pause and go, breathe, smile, think of something that really makes you happy, like your cat purring on your lap, then you kind of like come back and you're like, oh, been thinking of that person. I was going to go talk to them. And they walk right up to you and you have that conversation. And all of a sudden it's time for you to put all your shopping down. These things happen. And our higher selves are always going, come this way, over here, do that. And they're really patient. But so often we're not listening.
No.
So tune in.
But this is, again, just what I was thinking, which is practice tuning in. Because otherwise it's impossible in those moments to hear that voice.
Yeah, and do a what if. What if I'm absolutely meant to be here? And we haven't said this yet. So my laptop's getting really slow. And I'm now looking at it going, what if it's trying to just calm me down and just focus me so that I can get my words more succinctly so I don't just shoot out that email saying things in 2 paragraphs when really it could take 2 lines. So I'm like, ooh,
it's amazing,
I'm going to let this happen for a reason.
Yes.
So what if, whatever situation's coming up, what if? It's for my highest good.
But if that's your belief, then
it's
you can
true.
Live that way. It is true.
That's how it all happens.
That is my belief. If things come up, if my car breaks down or if something happened, I'm like, oh, this is happening. And I'm like excited.
All the time you're like that.
I'm like, whoa, this is a random thing that I wasn't expecting. And people would see it as negative. And I'm like, oh, I'm curious.
I know.
I'm like, where's the hidden message within this situation?
Yeah.
And I love finding that because there always is one.
Always.
And it's always a beautiful lesson. And it's trying to help you from another situation happening or show you something that you need to pay attention to. So you're so right.
And help, I think, is a really key question there, right? So one of the best questions you can always ask yourself is, what is in my highest good to know about this? Because really you're asking your higher self.
Yeah.
And just let that come through. What's my highest good to know about that? And that can come through in a shape, in words, in a feeling, in a sensation, in a clip of a movie that pops into your mind. What's in my highest good to know about that? And that'll be a way of connecting with your higher self as well.
And that's what I was going to say. What about integration with sort of day-to-day life with our higher self? Because my recommendation there is honestly to connect daily, intentionally, and set the intention to intentionally connect daily. Intention is everything. But we have to, I know that sounds so silly to say, but if you don't set the intention to connect daily, you won't connect daily. So, and then daily, you can say, right, my intention is to sit here and bring through my higher self. If you want to continue on your spiritual path and enjoy success with that and not frustration and resistance, that's the best thing you can have a daily practice. And whether you connect through breath work or whatever that way of connecting is with you, but just make sure you're intentional that that's what the outcome of the session you would like. That's the outcome that you would like. Do you see what I'm saying there? The intention to, okay, I'm not just going to sit here and do some breath work. I'm not just going to sit here and clear my mind. My intention is to bring my higher self through and to start to listen to him or her more closely and start to pay attention and build up that relationship so that then when throughout your day, you've already set that intention, ideally in the morning, to say, I will be guided by my higher self today. And then when you get your synchronicities and clues and you are able to follow. And you know what? Those clues, this has just come through for me. Never heard of this concept before.
Ooh,
I know. It's just come through. I'm like, okay, really? But this, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. What they're saying is, oh gosh, tingles. The reason that we see a synchronicity, which is our next topic actually, but the reason we notice a synchronicity differently we know it's a synchronicity and we get that feeling is the frequency that feather or that number is on. It's coming
so
through.
much sense.
I'm getting so many tingles. It's on
so
a different frequency. That's why it feels like we know that it's a synchronicity. We know it's a message from our higher self. And what they're saying is if you tune into your higher self in the morning and say, right, I'm bringing you in to come and work with me in my life today and send me some direction and help me and support me. Then when you see something, you will not only see it, you will feel the difference. You'll feel the difference.
Absolutely.
And that will give you that confirmation that that's the action you need to take. That's what you need to do. That's the direction you need to go in. I'm actually freezing cold now. but that was really helpful, I think.
That's beautiful.
Actually. Thank you guys
beautiful.
for that nugget. That was beautiful. So yeah, it's the feeling. And we know that, don't we? When we see a feather or something, we're like, why am I looking at that? And that feels different.
Again, yeah. Like, so why am I keep seeing little white feathers?
But it gives you like a funny tingle and it gives you a feeling, and that's frequency. That's the
frequency.
energy. I love that.
Yeah. It's like when I was out for my anniversary dinner and I looked at my phone and it was 8 minutes past 8 and I didn't really think much of it. And then, well, no, actually, I think I looked over and it was Christoph's phone and it said 2008 and it was like, ooh, got the tingles. But that was the year that we got married in. So it was just amazing. Beautiful seeing it. And he went,
that's incredible.
Oh, okay.
He got it, didn't he?
He got it. It's like screenshot.
Oh, that's adorable. But it is, you're like looking at it for a reason, aren't you? But I love that
because it's talking to you.
It's a signal.
Talking to you, yeah.
And frequency.
It is.
But so just to loop back round to that key point, because this isn't necessarily about synchronicities. This is about a synchronicity.
Feeling into that frequency.
Feeling into the frequency.
It's feeling into it and feeling into your higher self.
And it's the higher self frequency is what they're having me highlight here.
I agree, yeah.
They're having me highlight, this is the higher self frequency. So, because other people are tuning into maybe their guides frequency, and that's great as well. You can do that. You can set the intention to have your spirit guides come through, and that's great. And you're seeing the numbers then through your spirit guides. But they're saying, how about, Lucy, what would happen if, I'm getting so many tingles too, what if your beautiful people, these beautiful souls, set that intention every day to feel the frequency and direction of their higher selves, be guided by their higher selves every day. Oh, earth-changing, life-changing on an individual basis, and world-changing on a collective basis. Just that tiny intention to make that connection every single day.
Please write it down. Please write it down. Put a little note by your bed. I'm going to
I love that.
Have the intention to connect with my higher self. Oof. So would you like to do a little activation or a little meditation?
I just wanted to talk about the doubts first. Sorry, is that okay?
Of course,
I'm sorry, Emily.
of course.
I've got my notes. But I actually think it's really important because what are the challenges?
Oh, the discernment element?
Well, what are the challenges? So I've got here, it's, yes, that discernment, the two different voices. How do we know we have those, because we make it sound easy, I think, is what I'm feeling as well. Okay. I'm like, oh, you make it sound easy.
It is a practice.
There and connecting in.
It is a practice.
It's a practice.
And I think Lucy has been more divinely gifted with being connected to your channel. I mean, there's no...
Thank you.
There's no question. That's why I kind of wanted to call this the cosmic difference to begin with, because we were so different in that sense. Like I was always like searching for it, and Lucy was
not
like
anymore.
Awoken.
Not anymore.
But we're all having our own unique journeys.
I know. Our journey's blending though.
So yes, it is a great question.
But the
How
noise
do we
of the
know?
mind. Let's talk about that because I've made it sound like it's easy, but all I want to say, those common challenges of doubt, disconnection, the noise of the mind. I think our guides helped us in the beginning of this chat by saying, don't just sit down straight away expecting it. Yeah. Work yourself to that place. And that can be literally your preparation time in getting yourself to that seat. Mm-hmm. So that's when you're working on it. That's the part that's important, is working on your frequency before you start listening in for the guidance. Does that make sense? Rather than sitting down, a couple of breaths, and expecting it to come through.
Hurry up. Why am I not hearing anything? Why am I not feeling anything? Because you haven't set the scene. You
have to set the scene. Oh, I love that.
Can we just have that as
a highlight here? Set the scene.
Set the scene.
Set the scene.
And remember, you've done this before.
Yeah.
You are already connected to your higher self.
Yes.
Get out of your own way.
Yes.
With love and kindness and chocolate, whatever it takes. But the more you do it, you're going to go, oh, this is familiar and it feels good. So again,
and I also want to say, everyone has their different ways. Let's talk about that, because I've talked about breathwork, meditation,
yoga, gardening, walking. I mean, anything that kind of just stills you. Yeah.
People like to write. People like to
I'd love to try that a bit more.
Oh my gosh, yes, because you end up doing automatic
writing.
That's how a lot of things started for me. I remember my hand I've got literally stacks of notepads.
Beautiful.
Stacks. I mean, it's all scribbled.
But again, dedication. That's taken time. That's taken an investment.
Every day.
You've got to see value in doing this. You've got to really know that you've got the best coach and the best psychologist, the best therapist, the best parent, the best sister, brother, everything all wrapped up, tuned to your unique frequency. I mean, what's more powerful than that?
So powerful.
It's the best doctor. I mean, and it's free. It just takes curiosity, a bit of time, desire, devotion, encouragement. And we are cheering you on. And so many other people are. So set some time aside and then comment below. And please also comment below on any questions or any obstacles that might come up. Because we want to help you with that.
We can help you. My goodness, this is what we're here for. This is what we do.
So can they.
This is what we do. We can connect the two of you. We can. And, there's so much wisdom. Oh my gosh, it's also so much wisdom.
So much wisdom. But we're so much on an empowerment piece. Like, yes, we can help you.
But we want you to help
that
yourself.
Happens. But again, it's just like you can make that beautiful cake because you watched Delia do it. But it's not going to keep making itself. You got to keep doing it yourself, don't you? It's that practice, that yoga practice, Don't touch your toes the first time.
And a lot of this is to do with maintaining your frequency, which we talk about in our alignment episode, don't we? It's and we all have heard it. I'm sure everyone watching is very aware about how such a different experience you have when you're in a different frequency. And we're talking about aligning with the frequency of the higher self, which is only going to bring you to a beautiful experience. I cannot even, honestly, things that you wouldn't even be able to, in your thinking mind, try to work on.
That logical mind, let it go.
Getting in your life,
you won't regret it.
It's just so much more beautiful. It's such a more aligned experience with your soul. So it's soul fulfilling. isn't it? A
Getting ready to be
soul-fulfilled
ready
life.
to be ready for it.
Yeah.
So get ready.
Wonderful. Okay. And so, yes, what else do we want to talk about?
I mean, I can just see that ego fears has just jumped up. So if you feel like you're connecting to your higher self and then all of a sudden something comes up and it doesn't feel right to you and you can just feel that shudder, then just be aware that maybe your channel was really open and another frequency came in, and know that frequency is not for you. But I wouldn't worry about that too much.
No, because the more you
But
lean
do
into
just
something
back
like
down.
that. Yeah.
If it doesn't feel good,
Yeah.
that's not your higher self. Just know that. I
And
think
also,
that's as
you
easy
can
as
just
that.
ask your guardian angel. Everybody apparently has a guardian angel.
we do, yeah.
Everybody has a guardian angel. So you can just say, right, guardian angel,
Guard
Archangel.
me.
Yeah, Archangel
Guard
Michael,
me.
come and just take that away. You know, we're so in control.
And again, the angels are dying to help. Like everyone wants to help.
And they're so powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, once you feel like you've made a connection with it, that's going to be a whole other episode. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Right. But I do want to say one more thing on things that kind of get in our way. And that is not trusting and surrendering, not letting go, not just letting there be silence, letting there be space, and leaning into the silence and the nothing and the no answer, no answer. Don't look for answers. Look for nothing. Look for peace in your heart. Look for love. Once that starts radiating through and you can sit in that still space, then the connection will be made and everything will start flowing through you. And even that's just the place you sit in and then you go about your day, you will go about your day aligned with your higher self because that's your intention. And the answers will come throughout your day.
That's so
right?
beautiful.
Don't expect it in that moment.
And you know, I love going to the nothingness now. I used to be so scared of it when I was a little kid, but now I love it because everything's so stimulating and so
Overloading.
Oh, I get to go to a place where there's nothing for a little
love it.
while.
I love it.
Brilliant. And then, yeah,
My life's
the
so
magic
busy,
happens.
overwhelmed. I suffer with overwhelm, just a busy life. And I'm sure millions of people, we're all the same. So for me, going to that place is like exactly what you said.
But I think that's why it's there to push us to go to this happier place, this still place, this emptiness where it all,
it's bliss.
yeah, anything can happen from that
Anything
point.
can happen. And it does.
Of course.
It does.
Of course.
It does. Lovely. Okay. So is there anything else that we want to do here? Do we want to have a little recap?
Should we do a little guided connection for people to connect to their higher selves right now?
Yeah, we can do that. Well, I think what we were going to do was we were going to do that as a separate recording. Should we do that? So you can
How's
go
that
in
sound,
deep.
guys?
So I think we were going to do a connection to your higher self, but we were going to do it as an add-on to this episode.
Okay, well,
So
keep
let's do that.
watching then.
Keep looking out, and we will add this on as an audio clip afterwards.
Awesome.
We're going to go and record that now.
Okay.
Yay!
Let's
That's a
do
little
it.
gift for you.
Let's do that.
So that every time, you know, if you're at the beginning and you're like, how do I connect with my higher self? You can follow this audio and it will guide you to that beautiful place of connection.
Absolutely. And if
sound
you
good?
want to work with either of us or together or come to some of our events, then just check out the details in the show notes and we will be so delighted to see
And
your
please
beautiful
like and
face.
subscribe.
Please like.
Please like.
Please
click,
share.
Click like and subscribe. Because
We are
it means
so
the world to us.
thrilled by how well this has been received so far. And we want to let you know that all the events that we are running, we're plowing all that money back into the Conscious Collective because we are really on a mission to help support this planet. I'm not going to say save the planet. She doesn't need saving, but she needs some support.
She needs some help
and
right now.
I know the humans, her beautiful humans, need some support too. And that's what we're here to do. So come join us, help the mission. And we can't wait to connect with you soon. Sending so much love. Joyful
Namaste.
blessings. Namaste. Thanks for joining us today. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you want to work with us directly, see the show notes below. Thank you.